Hey everyone, this is Shahaf. Today is Sunday, August 28th, and I'm here for an update. I haven't been around for the last 3 weeks, so I'm happy to be here now and give you the highlights of everything. So, what I'm going to discuss today is Djed, status, timeline, and everything you've asked. MultiDAG 2.0, mainnet, and also about enterprise integration. I'll give you some updates about Treasury. I will give you a promo about COTI's governance token called COTI, so get ready for that. We'll discuss Ledger, Revolut, CVI in a nutshell, and the way I've built this is that a community member has gathered all of your questions, send them to us in a unified way, and before each section I'll try to highlight the top questions that you had, and then I'll answer that in the update. In case anything is still missing, please know that we have a Twitter space coming, and you can join there and ask any question that you may still have. So without further ado, we have a long update to date. A lot of things have happened, and I'm happy about that, and I'll give you the lowdown right now. So let's start with Djed. I'll start off with the main questions that you had. I'll go through all of them and then give you the update. So take the top 4 questions because I think other questions are pretty much the same version of the same thing. Question 1, I've been told during the Tech AMA that Djed is still pending the version that supports the Vasil hard fork. Can you elaborate on that? Have you done testing on Vasil hard fork and so on? And when do you expect to finalize this? So that's one big question, Vasil hard fork and how it affects Djed's timeline. The second question is about the audit. As I understand now, the audit of Djed still has to be finalized. What's the status? What's the timeline? Etc. So audit is the second thing. The third question is about Djed XYZ. It's down for almost a month now. Can you elaborate on this? Got it. And I think the last question is kind of like captures everything. When Djed? So for the question specifically is for now, the most important question the community wants to get answered is when Djed mainnet will launch, considering the factors mentioned in the previous questions, etc. So timeline is the last question. So I think kind of like everything leads to that. So let me give you a full overview of the timeline, where we are with things and everything. And I want to start off by saying that I understand that you all want Djed, and the sooner the better. But I think that we can all agree that what you actually want even more is a secured, high-performing Djed. When in our decision-making process about things and plans, we value timelines, obviously, but we most definitely prioritize your security first, right? So when I make you a promise that Djed will be secured, I intend to keep that promise. When we present a roadmap is a plan, and plans change because you're agile, because new information comes to light, and you want to make sure that you have the best plan ready. So my promise is security and high performance. And this is what we intend to keep, and this is what guides our decision process. So let's discuss the 2 main things that were mentioned, audits and Vasil hard fork. So first of all, for those of you who don't know how audits work, you hire a contractor and he does the audit. So you send him your code, he reviews it. It usually takes anywhere between a month to 3 months. He reviews it and he sends you back a full report. That report has minor vulnerabilities, medium, high, critical, etc. You then fix everything. When you're done fixing, and again, that depends on how many things you needed to fix, but when you fix everything, you send it back to the auditor. He then does another review of everything that you've changed, and then gives you the green light that everything is secure enough. So this is how audits work. So the initial code for Djed was sent to the auditor during March this year, all right? So I'll say probably 6 months back. Twig, which is the auditor, have done their reviews and returned their conclusions on May 23rd. The auditor found that the code and documentation of Djed is clear, well written, and well motivated, which is, great. But as it is with audits, they also found a few vulnerabilities that we thought needed to be addressed. For extra security and because it's so important. So the team at Cardano's IOG, they are the one behind the code. They're already fixing these vulnerabilities as we speak. So that's with audits. And I'll get back to timeline in a minute. Vasil hard fork. Now, Vasil hard fork has a very positive impact on Djed's performance. It's really important because performance actually leads to extra security if you think about this. And we all believe it makes sense to wait until Vasil hard fork is concluded before launching Djed because we want to incorporate these pieces of code. But even if we don't, when Vasil hard fork will happen, it will probably lead to some downtime with the Djed, or we are worried that it may lead to some downtime with Djed, and that affects security. We don't want any downtime with a financial product that is live and running. So we thought that the best way to handle this is to wait until Vasil hard fork is done and then launch Djed. So we have that in mind as well, but it also gives us more time to fix everything that the auditor has written, make sure that the code is compatible with Vasil, all of that. So that answers, I think, Vasil hard fork and where we stand with that. Vasil is already on testnet, and that affects Djed XYZ because the code that is in the testnet right now for Djed XYZ is not compatible with Vasil, and this is why it's down since Vasil moved to testnet, or testnet moved to Vasil. When we're done, or when IOG Cardano is done, fixing the code so that it fits Vasil, then we'll put it on Djed XYZ, and then it will be live again. So you can have a good sense of when it's completed, but it should be pretty soon right now. Okay, so I'm capturing everything right now. What we do right now, what we wait for right now, is to finalize the code to match Vasil hard fork and to fix all issues raised by the auditor. When that is done, the code will be sent to the auditor for his final review. Everybody's stressing them to make sure that once the code is there, they immediately review it and don't wait because auditors can get busy. What green lights do we need, right? And for me, as the CEO that promises security, what's important for me to see before I green light launching Djed on mainnet is two things. Vasil hard fork is concluded. And again, we don't control when that is done, but it should be pretty soon according to Cardano. And the auditor made his final review. When these two things are done, and only when they're done, then I'll feel comfortable launching Djed. When? Again, we don't control all of that timeline, but my estimate is anywhere between 8 weeks to maybe 12 weeks. This is what I think makes sense in terms of what all the things that needs to be done. Now, the version that you'll have will be a better secured Djed, a high-performing Djed, and overall a better Djed. And I think, and I know that it's worth the wait. While we wait for it, we always work and we never stay still. So we continue to develop the ecosystem for Djed. So when it launches full-blown. So we have new partnerships. One is with Wing Riders, the Cardano DEX, pretty strong DEX, and two more will be announced in the coming weeks. And that brings us to nearly 40 partnerships and partners that will integrate Djed into their ecosystem once launched. That's huge. Not a lot of running projects out there already have this much firepower. So it's worth the wait. You're waiting for a better secure Djed. I've reviewed everything that led us to decide let's wait to Vasil hard fork and let's wait for the auditor's final review. Some launch products without even doing a third-party audit. This is not how we see security, and this is not what I've promised you, and this is why we're waiting. So Bear with us, it's coming and it's better. MultiDAG 2.0 updates. Here are a few questions coming from the community regarding enterprise tokens and everything else around MultiDAG 2.0. So people ask, enterprise tokens are currently planned for Q4. Can you tell us if this is still the case? Furthermore, can you elaborate on what we can expect, including the timeline? Are we still discussing partnerships with several enterprises, et cetera, et cetera? So we have that. Another question is, based on the tech AMA, I understand that the governance token will not be launched together with MultiDAG 2.0. In my opinion, the biggest feature of MultiDAG 2.0 is that the ecosystem will go from a single token to a multi-token ecosystem, of course. Introducing the governance token at mainnet launch seems logical to me. Can you elaborate on this? So we have two questions. One is around timeline and enterprises, and the other one is around the governance token of COTI that I personally kind of glimpsed into in few opportunities. So, MultiDAG 2.0 testnet was successfully released. We also had a nice mint to earn activity, and that is concluded. So let me give you some of the stats, because we're pretty proud about this launch, because obviously MultiDAG 2.0 is a tremendous piece of technology. It's super complicated, yet nothing was broken. And no critical issues were raised. And we're super proud of that. More than 1,100 CMD tokens were generated in less than a week, including the SBG token that was sent to some of you. When we launched the testnet, we explored it with a few enterprises that we are currently negotiating with, or even more. And we've shared with them the processes, the requirements, specific products, and any the tokens that they need, et cetera, et cetera. So we used the time to do this as well. That gave us a bunch of new ideas and requirements that we wish to include in MultiDAG 2.0 to fit the enterprises that we are working with. And as I've mentioned, there are currently 3 that we negotiating with, signed MOUs with some. Even taken it a step further with others. So great demand is coming from MultiDAG 2.0, and that really serves the purpose for which we're doing everything right now to become the enterprise layer 1. And again, I'll share more information when I can, but I think you'll be thrilled. Also, with that in mind, the mainnet version of MultiDAG 2.0 will obviously allow the issuance of tokens. So how do you actually, and we have COTI's bridge, right? That kind of bridges between Trust Chain to Ethereum and other chains down the line. Now, how do you do that when you have multiple tokens? Like, can they be bridged? We think it's important. And this is why we are pushing forward the release of Bridge 2.0. Bridge 2.0 has a lot of cool features in it, including scalability and fees, and everything is improved. But I would say the most important thing that is happening with Bridge 2.0 is the ability to bridge not just between COTI on Trust Chain and on native and COTI on Ethereum, but any token minted on COTI's Trust Chain to his Ethereum version, right? And again, other networks to be added, and Bridge 2.0 allows us to add even more networks at a faster pace. So this is pretty important, right? So we're pushing forward the release of Bridge 2.0. We want this to be ready even before the mainnet of MultiDAG 2.0, because that's kind of depends on that. It will take us probably, in terms of timeline, it will take us about 4 weeks to release Bridge 2.0, and then probably anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks later, we'll be able to release the mainnet version of MultiDAG 2.0. What it also does is give us the opportunity to actually dive more into GCOTI. GCOTI is COTI's governance token. It will be probably the first, or we want this to be the first token to release on MultiDAG 2.0. It will have vast utility, but what I can tell you right now is that it will govern COTI's treasury, It will be an APY booster. So if you stake it, your APY will be higher when you use COTI's Treasury. It will give you the right to participate in fees collected from liquidation, right? So it has a lot of value. Really, it's a great token to have. It's an important token, and you are eligible for it, and it will cost you absolutely nothing. We're not going to sell GCOTI. We're not going to give it to whales. We're not going to give it to anyone but you, COTI's community. How? We'll discuss that. Probably around mid-October is when we'll start explaining how to participate and how to get GCOTI. But if you are a COTI loyal believer, whether it's on native or the ERC20 version, then you'll have an opportunity to get GCOTI, and you want this opportunity. So it will be around staking and other ways, but also even if you don't have a lot of COTI right now, and you're still a loyal community member of COTI and part of our ecosystem, you'll have other ways to get it. It will be around social campaigns and other ways to spread the word, but we don't just cherish those who have a lot of COTI. We cherish everybody that can participate and support. Our community is more than just having tokens, and if you can be part of it, then you'll get GCOTI as well. So GCOTI is coming. When? Mid-October, we'll present the full timeline, but it kind of fits where we stand with MultiDAG's mainnet. As I said, Bridge 2.0 in about a month, so that kind of puts us, end of September, early October. Then 2 to 4 weeks later, mainnet will come, and that kind of correlates with the campaign, and everything fits together. If you think about it, Q4 with Djed and everything that is coming is a pretty important quarter for COTI. So stick around for that. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about the Treasury. We've hit a record, and right now a balance of more than 450 million native COTI has been deposited into the Treasury. That represents more than 40% of the total supply of COTI, or the circulating supply. And this is the largest amount that has ever been deposited in the Treasury. And I'd like to thank everybody that is doing that and showing their great support and their long-term belief in COTI. One of the ways to get GCOTI will be around staking COTI in the Treasury, probably the main way. Now, I saw a lot of people asking, and again, that makes me happy, asking about longer staking period times to get more COTI. So GCOTI will be part of it. Essentially, what I'm saying is that we'll be offering, longer staking period times in the Treasury, and that will not just lead to a higher APY. It will also make you eligible to participate in the GCOTI campaign at a higher rate, that is. How long? Still discussing that, but I would say that you can expect to even see 6 month and 12 month available in the Treasury. So that will also come around the time when we do the GCOTI campaign. But again, tremendous achievement. A lot of our supplies now staked, locked, and I couldn't be happier, and I really thank you for that. Now, other news. Revolut. Everybody knows Revolut, and those who've missed it, Revolut has added COTI as part of its supported crypto offering in their app. Revolut is building the world's first global financial super app, as they say. Their offering has about 80 tokens. That's everything. I think I've just read that there are tens of thousands of tokens out there, right? And we are one of the 80 that Revolut has chosen to put in their app. And again, we're humbled, and it's great news. So we are part of that selected list now. Ledger. Ledger has been an ongoing saga. I'm happy to say that Ledger will upload the COTI app to Ledger Live in developer mode, as what they say is very soon. It's already working for Nano S and S Plus on developer mode. Still some issues around Nano X that should be solved pretty soon. So the process is that they launch this at developer mode, which is kind of like, proceed at your own risk sort of thing. Then they do their audit. They don't commit to how long their audit takes, but when it's done, it's deployed to public mode. And then even if you're not a developer or you're just waiting for that, you can use that as well. So that should be pretty soon. Again, it's out of our hands for a while now, but you can follow the progress at the Ledger's GitHub repository. It will be part of the description in the video if you don't know how to access that. So that's the COTI news. Few new, again, I'll do that briefly. There will be more of that in the Twitter Spaces that we'll hold. But let's talk a little bit about CVI and Armadilo. So CVI, their leverage volatility tokens is the first update. In the past few days, we've seen tremendous volatility in the market. This is when it pays best to trade volatility. And volatility tokens allow you, obviously, to hedge your portfolio and trade accordingly. We are finalizing the Theta Vault, which is a new product. The Theta Vault, it's the next evolution of CVI liquidity pools. It supports, scalable liquidity on DEXs, centralized exchanges, and other secondary markets. It's unique. It's an innovative solution. It already has been audited. It's done. Final steps are now being taken. And once it's launched, it's like a major upgrade for CVI and the Govi token. CVI is also launching a new bonding program on Arbitrum. The first program on Polygon has been a great success, and now we're moving to the next step, which is Arbitrum. So get ready for that. And if you buy these bonds, you have great opportunities to buy Govi at a discounted rate. Now, there is a major product that we've just launched called Armadilo. Armadilo is the easiest way to protect yourself from impermanent loss. If you are a part of the DeFi ecosystem, then you are aware of impermanent loss. That's a huge problem that we've managed to solve. We've just recently reached $3.5 million in value that we protect with Armadilo. We're adding new pairs to that system, so other liquidity providers can hedge themselves and protect themselves. Matic and ETH linked pair ecosystem, etc., etc. It's also been in discussions with a few of the DEXs to incorporate Armadilo as part of their offering to users. It's already in test, so it's worth a while to wait and see how it goes. Great, so that's CVI and Armadilo. What's next? The big milestones to expect in Q4 for us are MultiDAG 2.0 launching, leading to COTI launching the governance token for COTI, leading to upgrades in the Treasury with longer staking periods. With that in mind, I'm hoping at that point we can announce a few names of enterprises that we are working with and that will launch their tokens on top of our infrastructure. These are not crypto projects that are launching a dApp. These are major enterprises that are launching a major system on top of COTI's trust chain. So that's one big thing, or a few big things. Djed is obviously next, and as I promised you, I will do whatever I can to make sure that Djed launches at the most secured way in a high-performing product. So worth the wait there. And when it launches, boom, 40 ecosystems or 40 products will integrate it immediately. Other than that, you can expect growth in Armadilo and CVI and in our DeFi ecosystem. We will be hosting Twitter Spaces pretty soon. I'll be doing that with Nir Arazi, COTI's COO. He's also the general manager for CVI and Armadilo. And Alex will be joining us as well. Alex is COTI's senior product manager. He has a lot of work these days because he's actually the go-to guy when it comes to enterprises and making sure that the product requirements are clear, and we then take this input and put it to our products and the trust chain and MultiDAG. So he's a very busy person these days, but he will join our Twitter space to take part and be ready for your questions. I hope I've answered everything that you had in mind. I've been following the group. I saw a lot of misunderstandings about timelines, Djed and everything, and mainnet and when. I hope I've covered everything. If I didn't, please write in the group or wait for the Twitter space and then ask your questions there. Great times are ahead of us. Stay safe and stay COTI. See you.